Hey tubers, Mark coming at you. A little sip of some wine. Not sure what it is, what it's called. Doesn't matter, it's Friday. Happy Friday to you. Only got a one card mail day, but I got two hobby relevant stories for you. First up, I meant to make it in the last video, but I shot it twice. And a couple days later, when I shot it the second time, I completely brain farted the story. And I was wondering at the end, like, why was that one so much shorter than the first attempt at that video? But I remembered a couple days later. So, first story. Good number of weeks ago now. It was like a Monday morning I saw it, because I have it as a saved listing, 1954 Hank Aaron PSA, just to see what pops up. Need that card in my collection. Have not ever owned one. It's kind of a bell cow card in the hobby, right? Across sports. For whatever reason, just haven't aligned it. It's not a rare card per se, so that's some of why I haven't gotten it yet. But it's not a cheap card either. And there was a listing for a 1954 Hank Aaron PSA 5.5. That is not a small card. And a 0.5 on something like that is a beautiful card. And the listing was buy it now, $4,500. And I'm looking at it like, that can't be true. But that seems not right. Something's wrong here. But if I don't click buy it now, somebody's clicking buy it now on this thing. If I ever got that card in hand, I'd immediately have $4 or $5 grand in equity on this thing with the quickness. Sounds like something I need to pull the trigger on here. And I'm just, it's Monday morning. I'm sitting doing nature's business, getting ready before work. And I look at the thing. It's got the front and the back pictures of the card. It's a fresh slab. I mean, the serial number was fresh. And feedback was 1,800 on the seller. So I'm thinking, some old guy, been in the hobby for a long time, finally got his Hank Aaron slabbed up, wants a quick sell to recoup, or even then he might be making some money if he's had it for long enough. This is the hope, and you try to walk yourself down that path when the feedback's 1,800, and the other things are kind of looking on the up and up. There was recent feedback on that seller's username and everything. So I stared at it for a while. Did not wake up this morning thinking I was going to drop that kind of coin on anything, let alone a Hank Aaron. But I think I got to take this risk, and so I clicked it. Buy it now. Go for it. We'll see. You fully expect at some point during the day you get an email back or a message back through eBay's seller saying, "Hey, my bad, I listed this wrong," or just the fake thing of out of inventory or whatever. I don't keep my phone on me during the day at work, and so when I got to my car at the end of the day, I had an email from eBay, not in the messages, but in the actual email, saying the listing was removed. I'm not sure. It didn't say nefarious, but some sort of malign activity statement of some sort. But circumstances, not up to eBay standards or something. And so the listing was removed. So I went to eBay, the app, clicked on the listing, and it's basically like, it's gone. Listing removed. But the purchase went through. PayPal went, right? Like, it's gone. Like, And so I gave it a day to marinate, because in the email from eBay, it said, it gave words to the effect that the item could still arrive in the mail, which led me down the path. Well, if eBay thinks that, or if that's the automated message, then I don't have any current recourse, because they're somewhat treating it as it's in the mail. So I waited a couple days there, maybe 2 or so, and then I just hit up the seller Is this going to ship? Is this because a couple of days? You know, if you sell that expensive of a card, it's 4,500, and it was taxes, so it was in the 4,700s or something. Should ship it pretty quick. You know, I'm not the quickest seller. That's why I try not to sell anything. I try to just push it all to consignment, because I'm terrible at that, getting to the post office, especially if it was a smaller sale. A big sale, you know, I'll get there with some priority, just because you want to close that deal, and close your part of the deal. And I said, is there any chance this is shipping or whatever? And then the person a day later came back and said, oh, I was hacked and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that sucks. So the next morning, after I got that response, I tried to cancel the order. And there wasn't a good category when you put the cancellation in, because it asks you the reasoning. So there wasn't a good category. And I forget what I put, but eBay ended up saying no to the cancellation. It felt very automated that eBay said no to that cancellation. I waited a couple days again, hit that person up, and said, hey, can you cancel on your end? Because it's not available to me to cancel on my end. And he said he couldn't see it, couldn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. So I had to wait. So in that time, I got some sort of update, but automated through the app, that this item should arrive, but it was something several weeks away. Like, you know, they just put a window of time. It should arrive here, and you like it when you get it, and it's, you know, between a 2 or 3 day window. Okay, cool. Well, this one was 2 or so weeks away was the first date, and 2 weeks plus on top of that was the end of that window of time. And so it's like, well, we're just going to be in limbo here for a full month. And my money is completely hostage in that space. That's not a great feeling, because that's not a small chunk of money, and it was going to be a long enough time where, you know, you get an interest payment on that credit card for the expense there. And so I did 1 or 2 back and forths again with the seller. I knew I wasn't going to get anything there, but I needed those messages to exist in eBay, so that when they tried to adjudicate, it was clear I was trying to communicate with the person, and they were trying to communicate back. And so then I did a failure to show action with the card, and it still was not clean through the eBay app, but I was able to, in that instance, put enough words in that they took about 3 or 4 days to adjudicate, and then I got refunded my 4,700 plus or something. So not sure how people can get hacked to that manner, and then people list the cards, because the seller at one point said it was up to the order of $17,000 that people had been on the hook for purchases nefarious through his account that he had nothing to do with, and then it was all a swindle. That wasn't a good feeling. I knew I took the risk on the front end, so, you know, I can't be overly upset, because it would have been even more exciting if I got that card, right, for that price. Anyway, I'd have figured out how to pay for that, not unexpectedly, just based on sheer value for sure. But no Hank Aaron to show off. But there are, you know, well, we've probably all, if we've been in this game for a little bit, have gotten okey doked or whatever from somebody with some very low feedback. You know, that was one where it was 1,800 feedback, and the person completely got their account taken over, but somehow within the day had control of their account as well, because they were able to respond to messages and things. So it was a little odd there, but didn't get that card. Eventually got my money, but it was held in hostage for the better part of 3 weeks, all said and done. Second story, got me one card, came from Canada. I've been on a little hockey kick for a while here. Eyes have been wandering long for hockey, but I don't make too many purchases in the hockey lanes. And with recent tariffs and those things, and if you look at those listings in eBay and it says coming from Canada, it will say that words to the effect of that there is another cost incurred in shipping, but it doesn't give you what that is. And so I had to hit up, and nobody had an answer the few times I asked in different Facebook forums and stuff. Hey, what is the percentage point hit for customs coming in, from Canada into the U.S.? Because on $100 card, if it's $1, who cares? If it's $100 card and it's $20, it's like, what the heck, right? That changes your whole valuation of the purchase. Didn't get any feedback on that. But I found what was a really good relevant price at the time that I was looking for, the great one, the OPG PSA 3. All it's got is some beautiful shoebox love on the corners and edges, but great color, great centering as far, it's not perfect centering, but it ain't bad. Fresh label PSA 3, and I got it from Canada. So when they tried to deliver it, because it was a UPS delivery, instead of getting delivered because I wasn't here, it came with a slip that said you owe $36.70 or something like that. And it's like, so it's basically you owe the difference on delivery, which is a wild situation how that works, because it's basically the shipper didn't put enough postage on there, so it's on you to import this thing to the United States, even though it's already in the United States where they're knocking on your front door. What are you gonna do? You're gonna send it back to Canada and get twice that cost on your company? That's weird, but it gives you the option on the little slip to scan the QR code and pay online. Well, it's the only option. It tells you to pay online for UPS. So I went online and did it. The price point when I went online was only $24 and some change, even though it was handwritten on the door slip that it was $36 plus. It only ended up being $24 and some change. So I don't know why there was a disparity in those two price points, but that's what ended up happening. But I paid it, and then they delivered it the very next day with no issues. So on about $1,000 card, if you get it from Canada, it cost me $24 and a couple of cents to import that on top of the shipping cost that's already put on you at the final out of the eBay transaction. So take that for what you will, and keep that in mind when you're making purchases. I can only imagine it might be a little bit more painful if you're doing Japans and Australias and things. And there's a lot of cards over there, especially for basketball. A lot of those come from Japan. I get my kids Pokemon cards every once in a while, and a lot of those pop up from Japan as well. So keep that in mind out there. Some hobby learning. Doesn't mean I won't buy stuff from Canada. They kind of got you by the gonads if you're trying to get hockey cards, but does have a couple extra bucks, especially if it's a lower end card. You might, wait a little bit for the same card for $5 more, and if it's in the United States, it's actually more advantageous price wise. And that's how I kind of run my purchases. My hobby list and my search list is not small, and so I always am just going where the deals are as opposed to running it down a checklist. So there you have it. There's my 2 stories. Happy Friday. Hope you have a good weekend and enjoy. Later.